Stop posting content that sounds good, but doesn't convert. Your content problem is really a strategy problem. ViralGen turns your idea into hook scripts, audience insight, conversion strategy. Get niche-aware output in seconds. Free gets you started. Pro unlocks scripts, agency unlocks full cash bridge strategy. Start your free trial, getviralgen.io.
Firstly, thank you very much for being on my show.
Thank you for having me.
Uh, I have gone through your profile. I can see you're doing great work. So I thought to tell about your work to my audience.
Yes. Well, I am a person with a disability myself. And I've had mental health and addiction issues. Now I'm a recovering sober addict of 5 years. And what I do is I try to work with government and with other organizations to raise the awareness of challenges that face people with disabilities and their families in regards to mental health and addiction to drugs that sometimes are necessary but then get overused and abused, but also in the accessibility of raising the awareness of the challenges that face them socially and life skills wise. So I try to uh, shine a light on that, so to speak, to make sure that what is something that is normally hidden is better understood.
So you are from?
I'm from Canada, from Calgary, Alberta, and I I am my family's originally from East Africa and India, but I am born in Canada.
So can you tell us about your services?
Sure. Um, my services are I'm a life coach and I'm a mentor and an advocate, and I work with families that have a person with special needs to help them with social skills and life skills and finding a job, and help them with mental health and healthcare needs and challenges and that they may have in uh, finding a job or finding confidence in themselves, and help their families, help them foster independence and a good foundation in life, so that, for example, with me, I lost both parents at the same time. And even though I had a good foundation, I was not independent. And because I wasn't independent, I became very grief stricken very quickly, and I lost my way and became an addict, really hard addict. And I think that sometimes it's important to families to have that independence and to be able to foster a healthier relationship in that helps both families and a person with disabilities and other challenges face life in a more healthier way.
So can you tell us about your qualification and experience?
Yeah, my qualifications is I'm a certified life coach. I have a university degree in psychology. I have worked in the finance field as well, in business, and I worked as a teacher and a counselor for people with special needs and families. And now I continue to keep my certification up, but I also continue to use my life experience to help people um, with their challenges, so that they have an understanding that I have gone through it as well.
So as a life coach, what kind of an uh, counseling or consulting that you do?
What I do is I help people achieve goals. So there's a way to do it where it's short, midterm, and long-term goals, and achieve life affirming things. So if it is in career or education, or if it is in having to work on their mental health, or if it's to working on understanding, um, having friendships or relationships, helping them build that confidence and social awareness, but also life affirming values and life affirming uh, strengths, and help them foster a level of independence and a foundation of healthier relationships and healthier ways to achieve their goals. Okay.
So, tell us about your experience. Who was your clients and how you supported and helped them?
My experience is in using not only my professional background, 25 years in working with people with disabilities, but also using my life experiences of having, I am the oldest. I have something called Costello syndrome, and I'm the oldest person in the world that has it. There's only 1,500 people in the world that have it, and most don't past childhood. So I kind of use those kind of experiences. I've dealt with chronic pain, I've dealt with addiction, I've dealt with grief and loss. So these kind of experiences help me understand a lot better what the challenges are that are faced by families who have someone who's disabled in them. And it helps me have that compassion and that empathy in connecting with them and helping them with areas like most people with disabilities feel very isolated, and their families feel isolated too, not feeling like their um, challenges, I would say, are understood. So what I do is I raise awareness with both government officials, but also by working with the families as a life coach and helping them with social skills, helping them build their confidence, helping them find direction in their life, whatever they want to do in career, whatever they want to do in education, how they want to develop relationships and friendships, and however they want to develop connecting with the world, and helping them have that ability to do so, but in a way where they do it from their what is best for them, and help them build that confidence, that knowing that they have value and that they, like everybody in this world, is a gift and they have value for who they are, and to help them foster that value in themselves and connect with the world that way.
So, as a life coach, what is life?
Life is showing people that their value is important, that there there's that everyone has a purpose in life, and everyone, despite their challenges or what they may look like, or if they're in a wheelchair, or if they do not have the ability to speak, whatever, that they have value. And the first value is that as a human, as another person in this world, where sometimes the world sees people that look different and may not understand that. But for the person who I'm working with to understand that their life is a treasure and that they are a treasure, and for them to help the world see that, And no matter whatever career they choose or whatever they want to experience in life, having that ability to show their world their worth is far more important than anything else that I can teach them. And that comes from them, me helping them light their spirit up again and helping them move through the dark forest to light so that they can see their worth from within and then move it outwards.
So can you tell us uh, about the humans who are going through the disabilities,
Yeah,
how their life will be, and uh, yeah.
it is up to them on how their life will be. What I can do is show them that despite the challenges that I had growing up, and I had a mother who was a teacher and a father who was a businessman. Despite any challenges that I had in school, being bullied or being seen as less than, that despite any obstacles they may face with being bullied or not being understood, whether it's by the community or by the family, that they can find within something that is of value, whether it is becoming somebody, a podcaster, for example, or whether it is them learning how to be purposeful in life to help other people find their purpose. And I think what is the most important thing is helping them understand that throughout mental health, because a lot of people with disabilities are also going to have mental health challenges, and that's simply from being isolated and ostracized and feeling less than. That once we work on that, bring stability to their mental health, then we can bring stability to them having the ability to build up their confidence slowly and quiet down the voices of negativity and bring up the voices of positivity. And once that happens, they can achieve anything in life that they want to accomplish. And my job is to help foster that.
How will be the social life for the people who are going through the disabilities?
Very hard. A lot of them feel like they cannot date. I, myself included, a lot of them feel like it's hard to make friends because they don't feel the value to do so. They feel very nervous. They have extreme social anxiety. But once I can help them realize that there are other people that face similar challenges, and some of them are not even with disabilities, because everyone, feels some anxiety and lack of confidence in some time in their life. But the key is to help them empower themselves to see that they can build connections, that they can build their worth, and to build relationships with those around them, whether it's in the community, whether it's with other people with disabilities, or whether it's with people with that are able-bodied. But it's about valuing yourself, and then it is getting yourself out of the isolation. You have to challenge yourself. You have to be willing to see that you have the ability to connect in the world. Because if you don't, you'll become isolated, and then your social, your ability to socialize with people will be a challenge. But if you work on your confidence and realizing your worth, then we can move forward slowly in helping them to build friendships.
So, as a life coach, I'm sure you might have uh, given counseling to different people. who has disabilities.
Mm.
So, how is their mindset and what they say about themselves? And as you mentioned about the isolation,
Yeah.
why do they isolate themselves? Is that because of lack of confidence or lack of knowledge or fear of coming into the social world?
It's a bit of everything. And sometimes, you know, parents who love their children sometimes, and I, I came from, my heritage is from India, from Pakistan. And, my father was very protective over me, partly because of my Eastern traditions, but also partly because he saw people in my extended family in the community not treating me well and bullying me. And so sometimes I wouldn't say it's the parents' fault, but what I would say is that parents want to protect their children. They feel that, especially children with disabilities, already have enough on their plate that they're dealing with their condition. However that comes out, with like myself, poor eyesight and chronic pain and hard of hearing, or like other people that are in a wheelchair or have, autism or neurodiverse or whatever challenge that they might face in communicating with the world. And so it comes from feeling isolated yourself because sometimes you're bullied and sometimes you're misunderstood by teachers and by the community and even by family. So it's a bit of both. And families have so much love. My parents, I would not change anything, even though it took me a long time to build relationships because my parents wanting to shield me from the harshness of the world. I would not change anything because it made me come to the place where I can help others in earlier stages in their life, see that that they don't need to isolate themselves. We all feel, everybody in the world, even people that are able-bodied, feel that I'm too skinny or I'm too fat, so people will not like me. All of us have some kind of social anxiety, and we see it a lot on social media. But what is important is to find the balance of having good relationships with your families and a good relationship with self. And once you have that, you're able to better connect yourself with the world. And that is what becomes important, is having that ability to empower yourself and say, you know what? Everybody feels something. Everybody feels somewhere in their life that they don't belong. But if I work on myself, and nobody is perfect in life, and then that's okay. And those imperfections is actually what brings us more value. Because if we were all perfect, the world would not be. It would be very dull and it would be very boring. So, helping people realize their imperfections is what makes them more interesting and exciting.
What kind of challenges that these humans with disabilities will face from the social world?
Two of the most significant challenges that they will face is, in, in I'll give you an example using my own life experience, is being able to find balance between marketing yourself in different areas in life, whether it's in university or having a career, advocating for your strengths and your expertise when you're applying for a job, as an example, but for people not becoming biased because of disabilities that you have. So you help them realize that, look, I might need some accommodations like large print or a computer that speaks to me, but those accommodations are available, and they're available through subsidies in most countries through the government, and sometimes through private funding. That, there is a way for us to have a balance, that we can be accommodated in life. With today's technology, it's so much easier than when I started working almost 25, 30 years ago, because the accommodations can be met easier. But what is more important in those accommodations is, you know, on the side, is being able to show people that you know you are going to find it hard to understand me. You're gonna find it hard to see if I am able to do the job or not. But if you see and spend time with me, and you spend time listening to me and listening to who I am beyond the surface, just like anybody would want, you would understand what my knowledge and my background is and what my experiences are. No matter if you're trying to find a job, or you're trying to make a friend, or you're trying to, a professor at university, you're trying to help them understand that you might need extra time for exams, something as simple as that. Or you're trying to make friendship, so you're trying to have the right doctors, and you have to explain your conditions over and over and what you experience. That there is technology available, but there is also the human experience that is available. And part of the human experience is looking beyond the surface and looking at me and my valley. Took me probably 25 years and working with an incredible mentor that I have now to understand that the human experience is more important in connecting with people. And once we do that, everything else falls into line.
Um, what is lacking in the social world? Why people are forgetting about humanity and human values?
I think it's because people are not willing to have that introspection. And I think we find that we close our hearts nowadays, because in America, in the US, south of me, there is still, we find it very hard. And this is a big one for me, because I have seen it time and time where we don't open our hearts up. And partly it's because we're protecting ourselves, and partly it's because of the chaos in the world. So much ignorance is coming out in the world right now. So we're not willing to look at a person, our neighbor next to us, and see their value for the person that they are. But we want to make assumptions. And those assumptions comes from what we hear, from what other people are saying, what our experiences are, because sometimes we're projecting out in the world from the disharmony that we have within ourselves. And when we connect in a vulnerable, compassionate way, and we allow ourselves to have a bit of empathy for not only the world, but also for ourselves, I think it becomes very important to do that. And I think what we are lacking is what my mother would say was, you know, You can hate parts of somebody, or you may not understand parts of somebody, but if we can open our heart, listen to people, and then after that, listen from open hearts, listen from not having to speak, but having to just hear people, understand them from your heart, not necessarily from your mind, because your mind will have jumbled up narratives of yourself and of others, but opening our hearts. And I think I did not realize what my mother's teachings were until sometimes, of course, I knew when she was alive, but some of her enduring lessons come to me now that, you know, she looked at everyone in the world, even people that sometimes she didn't get along with. She would look at the best in people. And I think that is what we need to do these days.
So, what is your experience as a life coach?
My experience as a life coach is, it's very hard sometimes to make the world understand the challenges that are faced in society today for people, I like to say, with other abilities, not disabilities. And I think, I worked with government, with members of parliament here in Canada, and I have worked with other groups, and they're all saying the same thing: is that lacking the understanding of social and life skills is one of the most significant things that people with other abilities face, because they are still in, they're still enmeshed in their parents' world, so they lack identity, um, and they lack, even though they might have, like me, have had a career or had university education, had a few good friends, they still lack their own identity. And when I lost my parents, I didn't have an identity. That's another reason I went into rampant addiction. And this is something that I am finding in the world is a very significant with people that are neurodiverse, people with physical disabilities, people with social anxiety. My experience is people are feeling a bit lost right now. And I think it's because the world and the narratives in the world are very significantly making people feel confused about who they are and what they need to portray in life. And I think finding value from within to out has been my experience as a life coach that I need, that it's important to show people. My job as a life coach is to, once I work with a client, is to help them to a position where I'm out of a job, that I have built their confidence, help them build their own identity, help them build their mental health, help them build their abilities to navigate the world and the challenges that they're going to face, with accessibility, or not, being legally blind and not being able to climb steps, or being in a wheelchair and a building not having an elevator. Like, sometimes you have to raise your voice, and raise your voice loudly, to be able to connect. And it has taken me several years to be able to work with government members to help them raise that awareness. And now I'm trying to get my clients and their families to do the same thing.
What's your ideas about artificial intelligence?
About what? Sorry.
Artificial intelligence.
I think artificial intelligence is very important for people with special needs in regards it can make their life easier. Um, for example, dictation software. For example, I'm not very good at typing because I lack the dexterity. So sometimes using artificial intelligence to help you write emails or write essays or write proposals for work or whatever, I think that it helps people navigate the world easier. I think it helps people that might have um, a quieter voice or the inability to speak to connect to the world. And I think it always has a balance though, because the human experience is also experience important. The imperfections of being yourself is important, but there is also a balance where I wish I had some of this wonderful intelligence when I was growing up, so that I could have written essays easier or proposals for work easier, things like that. So I think it's a fine balance, and I think it definitely has its merits, but I also think that people need to be challenged in the world and not use artificial intelligence to make your work too easy that you're not challenging yourself and not pushing yourself. So it's a fine balance.
So, how artificial intelligence is going to be helpful for humans with disabilities?
I think that it's going to be helpful that if you think of someone like Stephen Harper, it will, I mean, sorry, not Stephen Hawking, my apologies. If you think of someone like late Stephen Hawking, it will help with communication better. There are a lot of people that are either hard of hearing or with autism, cerebral palsy, and so forth who have speech impediments. And artificial intelligence will help, simplify that, help people communicate to the world easier. It will help people have accessibility to different jobs much easier. It will help people be able to, you know, use robotic lens or for it might help people. Artificial intelligence might help people with spinal injuries. Hopefully, also walk. Mm, It might help them people that autism express themselves a little bit easier, emotionally connect with the world. So I mean, not emotionally connect with the world, but to express themselves, to help the world not also become too overstimulating, but using technology to help calm their lives down. Because a lot of people I know I do, use technology to calm themselves down, like whether it's just listening to a podcast like yourself, or whether it's listening to music or anything like that. Artificial, artif- artificial intelligence will help make, people can say to and help use my calming music, and then the calming music will come up, and or help me write this proposal, and it will help with those kind of things too.
So, what is the connection between human and technology today?
Humans have a very finite connection with technology today, and and I think they're learning to connect with technology to make life easier for themselves. I think that there is a wariness of technology and how far it will go to help us. I think that there's a lot of things that are new that people are trying to understand, but people are learning to use technology to become more independent, to be able to express themselves more. They're trying to learn to use technology to be able to, like for example, there are robotic eyes that people use nowadays, or hearing aids. For example, the hearing aids that I use can easily connect from computer to phone, and they can also, if the sound is too loud, it can automatically quieten that sound. For example, the sound of traffic or the sound of a lot of people talking. Technology can be used much more to balance that, make life easier for people with disabilities. And I think families of people that have other abilities and the person with other abilities are finding that balance nowadays.
So, at last, what do you say about your work to my audience?
I, you know, you have a very widespread audience. You've done some incredible interviews with incredible people. You have this compassion and empathy and this wisdom and gentleness that make people feel like they resonate with you on very different and unique topics. So what I think for your audience, it can help people realize, especially people with disabilities, that they have value and that there are people out there in the world that they can help, that's had life experience like theirs, so they can connect to people like myself to help them shine a light and feel more connected to the world, to feel more understood. And for the, not only for the person with other abilities to feel that, but for the families to also feel that, to feel like that there is a way to help with their mental health, that there is a way that they can get the job of their dreams, that there is a way that they can develop relationships and friendships. Sometimes we use technology like podcasts to see if there is a way that we can connect to the world better. Sometimes, being at home and using podcasts is a way of expression, and it's a way of trying to connect to the world when you feel overstimulated by it, or you feel that people will not understand you. And podcasts like these show that there are people working in this field, and that there are people with similar experiences to you that have achieved something in life and also achieved mental health, or have achieved getting the right health care, or achieved a career, and that they can do it to themselves, and that they can connect to people like myself to do that. And that podcasts like yourself is just raising the awareness of humanity and raising the awareness of the human connection.
Can you spell your online presence to my podcast listeners so that they can connect you and take your services?
Yeah. My website is called Limitless Potential Life Coaching.com, and that's www.limitlesspotentiallifecoaching.com. My name is Zubehr Habib, Zubehr Habib, Habib. They can reach me through Facebook or Instagram. Um, but here, the way that I connect mostly is through my website or through my email, which is Zubehr, Zub, at limitlesspotentiallifecoaching.com, and I will help them find a connection to the world and show their importance and help them see their value and help them see their identity and see their potential and their gifts.
At last, as a life coach, as a consultant, as a counseling person, what's your observation about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine?
I've seen a couple, and I think your work is incredible. I think that, talking to different CEOs all over the world and being able to, at such a young age, have the ability to connect to these incredible people is going to help the world realize that they could do something like you, that they could do something of such value, you know, and still be so humble and kind at the same time. And I think that podcasting, sometimes people don't realize that this is something that they can not only use as a learning tool, but they can use that to see that there is beyond behind these incredible people, there is the human that's behind that has achieved incredible things, and that you have helped shine the light on that, and you help shine the light on people's potentials and their gifts and their expertise. But you've done it in such a way that it makes makes it feel like you can connect to these people and understand them and understand what led them to achieve their own goals and achieve their own expertise and their life experiences and so forth.
So I have interviewed more than 100 countries experts. I have done 870 plus interviews in last 6 years. So I have done masters in software engineering, also bachelor's in computer science and engineering.
Yeah.
That's my and I'm a DevOps engineer. Work for London company from India. So that's
Yes.
my being an engineer is my full time role. Apart from that, I'm interviewing experts like you who are working in different domains and having experiences in different fields and coming from different industries, coming from different parts of the world and having diversified experiences and diversified humans from all over the world on the planet. So how this kind of a diversity in communication is going to be helpful for me in my personal growth or my personal career or my personal development or for my career in future.
Well, think of yourself. Think that your background is engineering. Think about, you know, what can, I have friends that are engineers, and I think engineers play a significant role in artificial intelligence. But I also think about people like Christopher Reeve, Superman, who was in a wheelchair. You know, it takes engineers to help rebuild, maybe not rebuild, but have an artificial spinal cord as an example. Building that artificial spinal cord to help people walk again. The thing that I talked about, I found out that, like what we see on futuristic TV shows like Star Trek, where somebody had a visor that helped them who was blind to be able to see the world. Engineers do that. Engineers have the ability to help people that feel not neurodiverse and feel overstimulated the world to have abilities to do STEMing, like listening to music and up their setting up their phone in a way that they can have different music come on at different times, or artificial intelligence for, for someone like myself, like we spoke about, being able to write emails towards you or to other clients, or to write proposals to members of parliament. I've used artificial intelligence for those kind of things. And engineers are the ones that build that. So you are the people that are instrumental, and I mean this. As you make a foundation and you help make the world structurally found, like a building, like a high rise, like an apartment building that I live in, 41 stories tall. It's people like yourself that help bring in, help architects have that stability to a building. So can you imagine if you expand that to technology, and the technology that you are building to help foster so many people in India and in the 100 countries to have easier lives, even if they're people without disabilities. Still, some people find it hard to write, so they use artificial intelligence to write an essay. It's people like you that make this world have that foundation. And I don't know if you realize how important what you do and what your work is in this world, and the people that you connect with, like with, director of NASA and CEO of Apple. Can you imagine how all of these people combined with the collaboration with someone like yourself has made the world so much easier for somebody like me? To have hearing aids that connect to my computer when I need it to, without me having to automatically do it. It just does it automatically. I don't have to do it manually. So I don't think you might realize the significant impact that you play in the role of people like myself who have disabilities that make our world so much easier. And I thank you for that.
It's my pleasure. Thank you, Zubair, for the kind words and being great, and thank you for being on my show and
Thank you.
letting me ask a few questions about your work and sharing your experiences and answering to some of my questions.
Okay. Thank you very much. And um, when I guess you will let me know when this podcast airs, will be on.
Yeah, it's good. It's fine. Everything is
Okay.
good. Yeah,
Excellent. Hmm.
yeah.
Thank you.
Can I put this conversation on my podcast with your permission?
Yes, please.
So also, can I share this conversation, this video and audio everywhere in the social media, internet, and on all the platforms with your permission?
I would be honored. Yes.
Great, Zubair. Keep doing the great work and keep inspiring people and make the world the beautiful place to live.
Thank you. And you keep on inspiring people too.
Definitely. Thank you
Okay.
for being. Yeah. Bye.
Take care. Okay, bye bye.